Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make those shorts that I've posted that has like fringe. I make fringe at the bottom of the shorts. I have some fabric out of my stash and I'm going to use this. I think that I'm going to make a top and a bottom out of this just to utilize the fabric. So for the shorts, you just need to determine how long you want your shorts to be. And if you're just going to do the shorts, you just want to, see how long you're going to make your shorts. And then you just need to, if you're going to add a waistband or not, you need to account for that. So if you're going to add a 2-inch waistband and you want your shorts to be 15 inches, you want to double the waistband, which will be 4, and then the 15 inches, which will make it 19. But I will do a total of 20. So with the seam allowance, and once you hem it, it'll be the size that you need it to be. I am just folding my fabric the correct way. So when I cut it, I'll fold it the way that it stretches. So give me just a second to fold it. And I'm going to fold it with the selvages together. And that's the raw edges of the fabric. These are the selvages. And this is the fold. So I'm going to put the selvages together. And then I'm going to fold it over again. So I'll be making a front and a back of the shorts. Okay, so the pattern that I'm going to use is going to be a pair of a jumpsuit that I made some time ago, and I use it because it fits pretty good. I will just have to make this a little bigger, or as big as I can make it on here, because this fabric stretches a little more. This fabric stretches more than this fabric. So when you're using pre-existing clothing that you have, make sure that you account for the stretch for the item that you're using, because you want to make sure what you're going to do. And I basically kind of eyeball most of my stuff, so you want to make sure that it's going to fit. And you can always use a tape measure to measure your to take your measurements on the fabric as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my plastic ruler that I got from Joann's, and I'm going to cut off. I'm going to cut this off at 21 inches. And I'm going to use my rotary cutter that I got from Hobby Lobby. I love this rotary cutter. So I'm just lining up my rotary mat with 21. So I know that it'll give me exactly what I need. Because this fabric is kind of thick, I'm going to go over it a couple of times just to make sure that it cuts it. And it does. I do it a couple of times, you know, you don't have to, because it's a brand new needle. So I'm going to cut the other edge off just to have a nice clean edge. And I'm cutting this at 21 as well. And it's just cutting off the edge pieces. And I'm cutting it a couple of times to make sure that it removes all of it. And I'm going to throw this away in the trash. So, this is how long my shorts are going to be. Let me cut this off. I'm just cutting off this. Okay. All right. So like for my folds to be towards me. And I like to make sure that when I'm touching the fold, I can feel both pieces of the fold and there's no gap in between it. And I'm going to even it all out so that when I get ready to lay my piece on top of it, it will be nice and flat and even. So this is a jumpsuit that I made. I'm going to fold it down and then I'm going to place it on push it up just a little bit. Hold on. So I have it nice and flat. And I'm just going to cut around it. Like I said, I normally eyeball it. But for you guys that are very, very new to sewing, you can use a pair of shorts that you have. Make sure that the fabric that you're using has some sort of a stretch to it. And if the shorts that you're using have stretch, if you are using fabric that does not stretch, you can I wouldn't suggest you use fabric that does not stretch without measuring it. If you use a non-stretch fabric, please measure your fabric just to make sure. But this is just a quick tutorial to show you guys how to use something that you already own in your closet to make these very simple quick shorts, because it takes no time to make it. So I'm going to cut around this. Now I'm going to leave more of a seam allowance because, as I stated, this fabric has more stretch than this fabric. So I'm going to leave a little bit more of a seam allowance than I would if I had fabric that was the same fabric. And I'm leaving more seam allowance around the thigh area, and I'm just kind of coming back in around the waist area. Now once you sew it, you can definitely, if it's too wide, you can actually take it in. But this tutorial was just to show you guys how to use something that you already own to make these shorts. And if you're just making the shorts and you're not doing a waistband or anything, you can actually be done with these shorts in a matter of a few minutes. And because my fabric is the same on both sides, there is no right or wrong side for my fabric. But for you guys, if you have a fabric that has a piece that you could tell is a right and a wrong side, always sew your fabrics right sides together. So because my fabric does not have that, I don't have to. I can just sew either side and it's going to be the same. So we have both of our short pieces, and we're going to get ready to serge our seams together. I am using a white fabric, and it's only for the tutorial purposes so that you guys can see me sewing it. So I'm going to go ahead and serge with this because this fabric already doesn't stretch as much as the other fabric. I'm not going to leave a seam allowance. I'm just going to sew all the way to the edge. So I'm going to serge both pieces. I mean both pieces. And just remember, serging is going to give you a very nice inside finish as well. And it also makes your cuts your project time in half or more than half, because you'll be done in a matter of a few minutes. So this is what it looks like once it's serged. And you see it has a nice clean finish on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and serge the other pants leg. And I am standing up sewing. I stand up and sew a lot. Especially when I'm doing my tutorials, I'll just stand up and sew or serge whatever it is that I'm doing for that particular tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and serge the other seam. Okay, so now we have both pants legs serged and the inside is clean. So I'm going to turn one pants leg right side out, and I'm going to put the right side out leg inside of the pants leg that's inside out. So I'm going to put both crotch areas together. So I'm going to stick this in here. And I'm going to line up the crotch areas. Make sure the seams match. And then I'm going to stick a pin. I'm going to stick a pin inside of here so that I can hold those pieces together. And I am now going to serge the entire crotch seam all the way. So it's going to be all the way from this end, the crotch, all the way to this end. So I'm going to serge that, and then the next part we will do, I will be showing you how to make the fringes. Always remove your pins before sewing, because you don't want to sew over it. You don't want to dull your blade or break your blade. Okay, so now we have the seams sewn together, and now we have our pair of shorts. We're going to take our shorts and we're going to fold them in half, align at the crotch, and this is where we're going to cut the fabric to make our fringe. Now what I do is I cut up to right before where the crotch is, so I don't cut past the crotch. So I just make my lines prior to where the crotch is. So I know that my crotch is on line 12, in between 11 and 12. So I know just to kind of cut it right here and not cut it more or over. And that I will get my ruler. So I will get my ruler, and because I have guidelines on my rotary mat, I'm going to make my cuts an inch apart. So an inch to maybe an inch and a half apart. So I'm going to cut, and remember, we're not going past the crotch area. So I'm just going to keep going down. And I'm going to keep moving it over until I'm at the end. And try to follow your lines and keep your ruler as straight as possible so that your fringes are as even as possible. And that's how you make the fringes. I always kind of take it and dust it off so I can get any excess stuff that may have cut in between the blade. I always like to remove it. Throw it in the trash. Okay. So now you don't hem this because you let the fringes just, you know, hang. So if you were going to just leave it as is, this is the time where you go try it on. You can go try it on, and if it fits perfectly, then all you would have to do is roll hem the top area. And when you hem, you remember you flip your fabric right side out. And you fold it once, and then you fold it again. And you do that with a zigzag stitch all the way around, closing it up. So that way you have a clean finish. You fold it over once, you fold it over again, and you fold it and you sew all around the waist of it. But you use a zigzag stitch as well because you want to be able to give it a little bit more of a pull so when you get in it. But for those that don't want to do any sewing machine, if you want to do it all just on your serger, you can actually put a waistband on here. So I'm going to measure this, and it's actually too wide. So in order for me to put my waistband on here, I need to bring my size in a little bit. So I'm going to just bring it in just maybe an inch on each side, an inch or two. So that I can have a good fit. Always cut your excess thread off. So now I'm gonna go back and measure it. Okay. So now it's still a little big, but that's fine. Cause more than likely I'm probably just gonna have it for one of my models to wear. So I'm just going to cut off a square piece for my waistband. I'm going to make my square piece 5 inches, so it'll be a little over 2, but not more than 2.5, because with the seam allowance, a little bit of a seam allowance with the serger, it won't be over 2.5 inches. So I'm gonna line this up with my 5 on here and make sure it's lined up right on the end. And this is what's going to give me an even 5-inch waistband. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to measure it down to here. It's just the size of my waist. I'm just going to cut it across. So now I'm going to sew the edges together. Then I'm going to take my waistband and I'm going to fold it wrong sides together so that the seam is in the inside of the waistband. And I'm going to fold it all the way around. And it's going to look something like this. And you want to make sure the ends meet. And you can definitely use pins if you would like to, but it should look like this. Just the ends meeting all the way around. And then you're going to get your pants, and then you want to make sure, so my waistband is too long, so I need to cut off some more. Because you can make your waistband maybe 1 inch smaller so it can give you a snug fit. If you are using a stretch fabric, this will not work on a cotton fabric because cotton does not stretch. So I'm going to try it again and make sure that my waistband matches. Okay, it's a little bit off, so I'm going to do it just a little bit more. Okay, so that should be good. So now we're going to take our waistband again and we're going to fold wrong sides together. Not right sides. We're going to fold wrong sides together. And then we're going to fold our waistband in, matching up the ends. So we're going to take the end with the seam and we're going to match it up with the other end of the pants seam, matching them up together, making sure that they meet. So you want to make sure that your seams meet together and stick a pin in it. And then you want to go over to your other end and do the same thing. Now you don't have a seam on that side because we only have one seam on the waistband, but you want to make sure that that seam is matching an actual seam. So now you want to take your pants and even them out, and it all should fit just like that. If you have any extra space in your pants versus your waistband, all you do is while you're sewing, you're going to pull your waistband just a little bit. Don't pull it to get puckers, just pull it to even it out. You want to pull the ease the stretch into it. So if you do have a little bit more space in your pants, a gap between your pants and your waistband, as you're sewing it around, just pull your waistband so that it'll fit into your pants area without giving you any unnecessary puckers. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this. Remember to remove your pins and do not sew or serge over your pins. And remember, you're going through 3 layers of fabric, so you want to make sure all 3 layers are being sewn. So you want to hold them to make sure that the needle is catching all 3 pieces of it, because you don't want a piece hanging off once you get done. And take your time going around it, because like I said, you just want to make sure that you don't have to go back and redo it after you've done it. So just make sure all of them are lined up together. And serge it. Remove your second pin. Make sure all pieces are even together. And that is it. If you want to make these pants without having to do any hemming and don't have to use your sewing machine, you just want to use it all on the serger, this is your method. Because I didn't have to use my sewing machine for any of it, I did all of it on my serger. So now you just take your pants, you pull them right side out, and you have perfectly fringe cut shorts. So I'm going to go ahead and get a top and put it on my mannequin. And as you can see on the waistband, there's no puckers. You have no puckers on your waistband. It fit nicely into the pants. And because you're using a serger, it has a zigzag stitch, so it gives you that room that you need when you're using stretch fabrics. And this will conclude this tutorial, guys, and I hope you guys like it. If you like this tutorial, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and click on your notification button so that you can see the next time I upload new content. And if you guys happen to make these shorts, please feel free to join my sewing and crafting with Sharon group on Facebook. I would love to see what you guys make. Thank you and have a good day, guys. Bye.